For the last 3 years, my brother and I have committed ourselves to an annual trip to the Southwest U.S. For us, it's making daydreams of our youth come true. See, we grew up very poor. Much of our early years, we didn't even have a car. What we did have was four-wheel drive magazines, music, and our imagination. We dreamt of long stretches of desert highways, towering red rocks, and exploring trails through canyons. Then, it seemed as far off as a trip to the moon. And for years into our adult life, even though we were able, we let life get in the way. But, like I said, 3 or so years ago, we decided there was no valid excuses anymore to not live at least some of our daydreams. This is where we've chosen to camp for the night instead of the Great Basin National Park. Just off Forest Service Road, and we're like, hey, let's go up there and see if there's anywhere to camp. So this is it. Earth high above the bird-killing wind farm. There's a fire pit that we will be having a fire in tonight. Now I'll show you where we camp. We just drove up this Forest Service road, and it's really pretty up here. Great view of the mountains. So we just have this nice hilltop location. Chell is gathering firewood. There's like a little settlement or something down there. Maybe it's a whorehouse, I'm not sure. We are in Nevada after all. It's really cool in here up on top. It's just different, and we've got the open valley below. Red pockets, and it's almost like a park. There's still some snow, it looks like, in some spots, shady spots. Dinner was a pre-packaged chicken something from Costco, and it was pretty good. But to make it even better, we added in some Mama Lil's peppers, and if you haven't had those, you need to stop whatever you're doing and go find them. There are times, too few, when time just doesn't seem to matter, as if it were on pause, so that we can just immerse ourselves in the moment. This was one of those moments. The stillness of the evening as the sun began to set, and golden hour cast itself across the valley. I'll never forget this. So we had a good dinner, and we got camp set up, had a good dinner, sipped on a little wine, and now we are taking a walk because the terrain here is really cool. It reminds me of a park. They've done some test digging for mining stuff around, but it has its own beauty. There's poop, little rabbit, deer, probably, I don't know what it is. Looks like Cocoa Puffs. But yeah, so we're taking a stroll now.
bright enough.
Gonna go look at the windmills that don't work. Oh, weird. It's kind of strange. Turn my light off. Be heading into Utah today. I like that there's just a speck on the globe. Tiny speck on a pale blue dot. You could almost argue that a man that doesn't own a four-wheel drive isn't really a man at all. And here's why. If he drives a car only, doesn't have a four-wheel drive, and he can't get out and do this, what about a man? What about a man who... Anyway, the desire for adventure is not in his bones. And that doesn't seem like a man to me. When we first visited Utah, we fell in love, and we have since made it a point to make it part of our trip every time we visit the Southwest. This time we wanted to explore Capitol Reef National Park, but more specifically, the Cathedral Valley Loop. Getting into the Red Rock areas. 996 miles and $330 in gas later, we made it to the real starting point of our trip. Landscape. This may be where we set up camp for the night. But first we will scout the area and make sure we aren't missing a better opportunity. Chell is setting up the chairs and part of the camp, and we have camped on this cliff. It's a cliff back there, and it's such a cool setting, but it is windy, and that's just something that you have to deal with. My truck looks like a little toy that I could just play with. A lot of these rocks, you just never really know what you're stepping on. Did you just bunny hop? You can't really tell in the video, but this is an edge. It's concerning because some of these undercut pretty far. You don't want to be right at the edge. So we're kind of scouting. We want to get down. So we're going to take a look-see. Just to stroll through a canyon. Got hot with the jacket. It's kind of cloudy, sunny, and the little guy. And when it gets sunny, it's too warm for the jacket. There's a little corner. This little place to, when the flash floods come, you just run up here and then get a shower from the waterfall. Exploring these little canyons may seem insignificant to some, but for us it's exactly the kinds of things that we always wanted to do. We have desert in Oregon, but it's nothing like Utah, so we're taking it all in. The colors, the textures, the fascinating geology. Oregon is pretty bland by comparison. See, down here you can get an idea. So if you're up there and you're hiking down, and if you stand here, you don't know what you're standing on, but it just wants to, it's already broken loose. It wants to fall down. So that's why it's always good to stay away from the edge. It's also not a good idea to hike when there's a thunderstorm, when you're in a flash flood area, but we're doing it anyway. Well, we're back at home for the night. Hopefully rain doesn't get too rowdy tonight. The rain is starting back there, but the Go Fast camper has some good qualities to it. Well, the weather's starting to blow in, so we just have the chairs set up in the back.
It's good.
And we'll just kind of crawl in and chill out for a bit. Wait for the storm to pass. And if it gets too crazy, we can close the sides. But we're just going to watch the winds blow through. But it's kind of nice. For the moment, the storm's intensity seems to be to the southwest of us, but things would eventually change.
You like some cheese?
Sure.
Look out there.
We're getting hammered by the storm. We closed the tent down, and it was soaked. I got soaked just by the few seconds I took to close the tent down, because the truck was shaking, the wind was ripping through, hail. All hail broke loose.
All hail.
That's what Shell's like. He's sitting in the corner and he's like, oh, hail. Oh, hail.
But all I meant was,
It's hail.
here it is.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I thought that it was going to kind of move around us.
Yeah, so we're getting a little walloped on this cliffside, which, that's what happens.
As long as the
So, dinner may consist of cheese, licorice, and chips.
line.
And wine. I mean, we could do something else too, but it's just a matter of seeing what that is. Anyway, that's it for now. Life for a moment is deceptively calm. The storm continued in waves, and even though it was not the peaceful cliffside camp we were hoping for, we took it in stride.
I therefore retaliated by doing my impression of Richard Widmark's maniacal laugh.
The plan for the next day or so is to do the Cathedral Valley loop and camp places along the way. The Fremont River crossing can be a little hairy depending on the river flow, from what I understand, but fortunately for us, we were in my Tundra. Actually, the water was low and mellow, but my Tundra is a plus-size girl, and that does help in these kinds of situations. It doesn't take long before Cathedral Valley reveals its splendor. We found ourselves stopping about every quarter mile or so. It took discipline to keep moving towards our pre-planned points of interest and the areas where camping is allowed. There were literally dozens of places along the route that we would have loved to camp, but unfortunately, legal camping options are limited. There are a couple of designated campgrounds along the route, or find something adjacent to the BLM land and you can camp there, which we would later opt for. We just came down here but saw this area, which was definitely where flash floods happen. Kind of neat looking, so we decided let's just kind of pull over and go have a look. That's like battered. Yeah, these little pockets in the rock, kind of neat. Oh yeah, sweet. And then it just cascades down and there's a little pool. Wow, that's cool. I will take this rock, this here rock, and I will cast it into the water. That little camper thing's pretty cool. These are the Bentonite Hills. It's kind of like the Painted Hills near John Day. Maybe not quite as colorful. We are doing a quarter-mile hike. It's short, to the lower South Desert overlook, and that thing's really cool looking. And then back there we've got the tundra, which the tent got so soaked last night in the storm that we've got it open while we do this hike so it dries out a little bit. So here we go. 1/4 mile of not very strenuous activity and a lot of sitting this trip. It is a unique landscape, an otherworldly landscape. Wow, that gets impressive, definitely. Yeah, the colors are pale, not what I was thinking. And I think I've seen these before in pictures, and they've obviously been boosted in some fashion. But yeah, it's a long loop that we're driving, and it's good to get out and get some exercise here and there. So this short one is welcome, an intermission if you will. These boulders down there are big. They're black. They look small, but they are big. Perspective is a strange thing. We had absolutely convinced ourselves that the black boulders had to be quite large, but we would later find out they were not big at all, and what seemed far away was actually a lot closer than what it looked like. I'm not quite sure what it was that caused both of our perspective to be so skewed. So we're hiking down to the gate at the South Desert Overlook, or whatever it's called. It's a little muddy up here, some spots. And when you get it on your shoes, it doesn't want to come off. That thing, I don't know its name, I'll have to look it up, but it is big. A big fin. There's the gate. That wall's kind of cool. Horses have been, or maybe it's cows. Yeah, I think it's cows. Been pooping in here. Oh wow, that's cool. Wow. Oh, slippery. Wow. Crazy. I believe this is all from cows walking in here. But we're gonna take a stroll into the valley.
Let's go to those boulders.
Let's go to the boulders. It's a gateway to something. Soft earth. No. Looks cool, but it's not a chasm. After the hike down from the South Desert Overlook, we made our way outside of the national park boundary to check out our camping options that were not in a campground. This little two-track was pretty easy going for the most part, but there were a couple of tight spots that Chell had to spot me through. Followed this Forest Service track out in this spot here, and it looks pretty neat. That was Not recording the whole time that I thought it was. Taking a zesty beverage to my brother. Right in here. Oh, wildflowers. Here we go. Purpley. Here, have a.
You know, there's snakes will love to be down here.
Thank you.
So keep your eyes peeled.
Wow, that tastes really good. So this is our camp. What do you think? Got it leveled in the front with the blocks. And Shell's moving the cow poop and some cactus. And we'll pull the awning out and set up the kitchen. Not too bad for a last resort.
And
Storm is a brewing again, but it is divided and gone around us. It went over us, but it didn't drop any weather, but it did bring some wind. But we're gonna go up and look that way because it looks pretty cool. The wind was something that we would have to contend with the entire trip, but I guess that's a normal thing for this area in early spring. The winds calmed later in the evening, enough to safely have a fire and warm ourselves against the dropping temperatures. He's flying. These were some weird lights we saw, and it's difficult to make them out in the video. They didn't really move, and most of them you can't see because it's a video, but I'll describe them by saying it was a mass of twinkling lights, and only the three most prominent ones that make a triangle were the ones that you could see in this video. It was interesting for sure, and it was a perfect way to cap off the first day along the Cathedral Valley Loop with my brother. Stay tuned for day 2 as we take in more of the sights along the loop. As always, thank you for watching, and make sure that you hit the like button, and if you did like it, go ahead and subscribe. I promise, I won't spam you.